Hey everybody, it's Nettie Kaye. Welcome back to my studio. Today we are working on a still life with a copper pot, what is this? Oh, a teal canning jar from about 100 years ago. And this is a little Indian, let's see what it is. Okay, it's a little, actually an Indian lantern out of pottery, and you can just light it up. We won't light it up today, and then I have some apples from my garden. Some crab apples and some regular apples, and we'll throw those in at the bottom. Now I've arranged things and I've done a little bit of a sketch ahead of time because, you know, we just don't want to sit here and watch me piddle around for 4 hours beforehand. So I took a toned canvas and I took a little purple paint and lined out things and moved things around. And here's what I do. I draw, yes, with my paintbrush, but then I also take a little bit of a rag or a towel, and I will come in and I'll pull out some of the, I will pull out some color here and there. You see how it has some of that kind of orangey color on there? I just mess around with a little bit of color, and then I rub it in and out until I get just the right shapes. And I move things around. Ooh, yeah, sometimes the apples start over here, and then I move things around. I'm gonna take out the bottom of this so I can put it back in. I'll move the leaf over, I move things. And then when I'm happy, I've already got a lot of kind of tones already set out on the canvas. It's pretty cool. So first thing I'm going to do after that is I'll go in with a little bit of, I'm going to actually use a little phthalo green, which is weird, all right, and purple. And I'm going to establish some of our darker shadows on this middle tone canvas. It's not light, it's not dark, but it's somewhere in the middle. And I'm thinking about the light is coming from over here in my window, and I love having natural light whenever I can. And I'm going to give the shadows should all be at the same angle. Don't have a shadow going over here and then all of a sudden one dropping off here and going this direction. They should all be at the same. So I'm going to pull these in kind of a horizontal way, and we're going to establish just a little bit of the shadow. Once you get the shadow and the shape in, it's not too hard to finish, to get the rest of the stuff in. Your information is there, and you don't really have to worry too much more about it. See how wonderful that is? Okay, now while I have this purple, purpley color on there that's kind of muted down with a little bit of phthalo green, I'm going to now come in over here and put this phthalo green, it's almost like a turquoise teal, into the silver. This silver is inside the colander. So it's copper on the outside and silver on the inside. So I'm going to start, because the light's coming here and it's dark on this side, and then the light will hit over here, all right? So it casts the shadow into the pot, and so there we go. And I also have this little pot has got a shadow that is cast by the little knob, and as it goes back into space a little bit like this, there'll be a little bit of reflective light here and there. And so I've also got some, this is transparent orange, and I'll put that, oh, I've got a little blue on there, that's all right. I'm going to put the transparent orange with the purple and whatever was on my brush onto the shadow side of the copper colander, like this. And then I'll put a little bit right here because that's in the shadow, and a little here, and right about there. And I'm going to hit it right about to the middle. It looks kind of green, but guess what? Copper is kind of green, you know? Yeah, it is. All right. So I'm going to put another bit of an orangish red color. This one actually is, it's like a cadmium red, all right? Cadmium red light. And I'm using a little medium, a little Neo Magilp, and we're going to put cadmium red light with transparent orange for the middle tone right there. And here it is here in the middle, right down there, like that. And then as it goes over here, it picks up some light. So I will add some white to that mixture. This is cadmium orange with white and a tiny, tiny bit of Carmine, C-A-R-M-I-N-E, Carmine Red. All right, let's see if that works. We'll see. All right. Oh yeah, that's kind of pretty. All right, there. So that gives it a feeling of a light on this side, because the light's sort of coming in and around. I mean, it goes in a straight line, but for some reason that's what I'm seeing right here. And then right here it sets off because it's picking up light behind this, coming through here and picking that up like that. All right. So that's kind of our orangey color right there. This might have a, behind here is a little bit in the shadow, so we'll go back in and give it a little bit of that shadowy purple color right in there, tiny bit. I don't want to get too much or it'll just disappear. Ah, it disappeared. Oh well, we'll put some reflective light on there and it'll work just fine. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some white. So raw sienna purple and white, and it gives it kind of a muted lavender feel right here where the light is kind of getting into the pot right here, or into the colander. And then I'm going to wipe my brush off and pull this dark color into the light a little bit, so it's a little more like this. All right. Okay, so now where was I? I wanted to put a little bit of a highlight right here. So I'm just actually just going to use a little bit of white to show you just how dark that really is. And I'm going to put just a scumble, a little bit of white there, and then it picks up on the rim a little bit there. And then we're going to swing that around a little bit. Now I might really, if I were, I'd worry about tones like whether or color in with my white. I don't normally just use flat out white. I might color it with either a warm color or a cool color, like a yellow or a blue, blue being cool, yellow being light. And then I'll drag this around a little bit. I'm not going to bother with all the little holes in the colander today because, you know, we just don't have that much time. And it isn't, the holes aren't the important part. The copper is the important part. Here's the rim up here. I'm going to go around that. Now, if you guys want to know a little bit more about how we made these ellipses, go on to, on my channel, there's one called Ellipses, and how to make an ellipse properly. Hopefully that will help you a little bit. Now I have a raw sienna over here, and I'm going to place that on this little gold handle. I probably, if I were to take the proper time, I would probably put something more along the lines of, well, let's try it. A yellow ochre and white. Let's get a little more white. Okay, yellow ochre and white, and we'll just cast a little bit. So I'm thinking yellows and purples when I'm doing brass or metal like that. Yellows and purples, and I'm going to put some of that along this front edge. It's a little bit warmer, and we're creating that lip on the colander, and then I'll come around here and hit that, make that light up there, and then, is there more light here? Yes. A little bit of light right like that. Okay, well, I have this warm color on my brush. I'm going to throw a little bit onto this special little pot, this Indian pottery, and I'll make it a little bit warm up here, and we'll blue it out a little bit. But I want to get a little bit of a glow happening. Isn't that pretty? Ooh, yeah. So I'm going to now put a bit of a little bit, oh, actually it's purple with phthalo green. That's just weird, but it is. And we'll put a little bit of that combination to cool it down in the middle tones as it goes into the dark. And then as it goes away from us, it'll go a little bit dark there. And then underneath it's kind of dark. All right, that's a dark to middle tone. And then behind that ball right there. Isn't this just going to be the prettiest thing? Yes, it is. And now I will put on a little bit of a light color. Just pick up a little bit of white, and we're going to realize the light's coming from here, and so it's going to hit right there. It's the apex, or where it sticks out in line with the light, and then up here I'm going to do the same thing right in line with the light. And I think that's about it. We'll put another little bit of this while we've got it on our brush. Now, see how big that highlight is? It's not really, really small. And then I'm going to work out the edge of the highlight with my brush a little bit and see how I just kind of scumble it around a little bit, and I leave out the center of that light. So if I had probably better to have a filbert than what I've got on my hand, but that's okay. So it leaves a little bit of a shine on the top of it. All right, what's next? Let's patch in our apples. First thing I want to think about is what's underneath this apple, and that's a yellow. And so I'm going to put a little yellow under here. This is a zinc yellow. I find it to work pretty well. Zinc yellow, is that what that is? I better double check. Zinc yellow, I was right. Woo, yeah. And that's just for some that have our yellow, more yellow tones. I'm just putting a little bit on a couple of these apples. Well, on all of them, let's face it. It really is a greenish yellow, and so that works out good. Then I will go back in, and I have a perline maroon, which is similar to an alizarin crimson, and we're going to put that into the shadow part of the apple as it turns away from the light coming over here, and then we'll put that dark red in here. And I'm looking at the real thing, everybody. Keep your eye on the real thing sometimes. This is a little bit darker over here. I've moved this apple so many times, I'm not sure where I've got it. I think we'll just put it right here. And then it goes over. Now see how I'm layering things? The thing that gives it depth is that I've got one thing in front of another. I've got this apple overlapping that, and this overlapping that, this overlapping that, and so it makes it much more interesting than if you were just to line everything up as it goes across the screen. I want to give this a little bit of a dark as it goes into space. But I think about what's on the inside of the apple often first, and so I won't always paint dark till middle tone to light. Now, if I grab a little bit of transparent orange and our, it's a bright red, the Carmine, and let's see what that looks like. I'll put that on the bright side of the apple. I like that. Yep, I do. And then I'm going to shape it out a little bit with that color. So, Carmine with transparent orange and maybe a little white. And what have I got over here? Yep, right here. That's yummy. A little bit on that. Let's get this a little bit darker right behind this apple so that it looks like it's kind of like it's behind it. I make this just a little bit this way. Okay, and up and up and up. There. Ooh, nice. Okay, what's happening on this apple? I got to turn my apple a little bit. I messed with it. Oh, I see. It's a green. It's kind of a greenish color right here. Wow, that was wild. Woo, wild green. Oh well, I kind of like it. And this is going to be where the stem comes out. So we'll put this darker kind of brownish gray right here. Where does that stem come? Oh, right here. There. Okay, and then I have a stem coming up this way, and then this one. Oh, help us, I got this going the wrong way. So I'm going to put the stem actually going that direction on this particular apple. There. See, paint, you can keep correcting. If you have a good idea of what you're doing ahead of time, it really helps. Now, these apples up here are crab apples, and they are in that really dark maroon color. Dark maroon, shaping them out. I'm not filling the whole thing with dark maroon because it's really hard to get over the maroon after a while. So now this one bumps into the other one, comes out. So this apple will come up over the top of it. These are pretty big. They're off my tree in my yard. And we'll just, it was a good year for crab apples. Too bad you can't really eat them. All right, now I'm going to take what's on my brush and just move those two tones together as I'm glancing across. Oh, you know what? I'm going to get a little bit more of our transparent orange. This is a really great color from Gamblin. Transparent orange and our Carmine, transparent orange, Carmine. And let's put that, yeah, that's beautiful. A little more of that. I think maybe a tiny bit of white. You have to be careful when you're trying to make a lighter red. You could do this with cadmium red light. It'd be awesome. Because if you put white with red, what do you get? Pink. We don't want pink. We want it kind of a light red, which often tends to lean towards the orange color. Isn't that pretty? Yeah. All right, now I'm going to make a highlight or kind of a light part on here with this kind of a tealy color. It's almost the color that's inside here, okay? And this just kind of makes it a little bit frosty and pretty. I can't believe I'm using a bright. You use a filbert. I'm using a bright for some reason, and then I'll take the corner of my my bright, grab a little bit of white, and I can add a little bit of a highlight in there. That's nice and loose. Woo, pretty. I like it. Okay, what's the color of this? And this one's actually a brown color, and so I'm going to take a little bit of alizarin crimson and sap green, mix it in, and create a brown, really rich brown right here for our little knob. I'm going to make it probably smaller than it actually is so that it doesn't compete with the apples. You can make the adjustments. So this is almost really a tiny little black knob on the top, and then I'll give it a little bit of a highlight. Oh, yeah, kind of like that. And then I'll come back in with some of that kind of dark, you could do it with raw umber and white, and kind of make a little comma here, and then blend it out. One of the best blending tools that I have found, especially when I'm working with the kids in my academy, which they're doing an amazing job. Anybody want to see what they're doing? All right, here's a picture. And they will use Q-tips sometimes for blending. That works. Hey, works really good. Now, I want to put in kind of a dark value in almost a kind of a greenish color right here. This is just a little handle that's popping out, and we'll put kind of a shadowish, oh, it's about the color of the canvas. Oh well. And some yellow or yellow ochre and white, and give it a little bit of a highlight right there. A little more white. A little highlight. There. Okay, so it's got a little handle on it. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Now, while I've got this yellow and white on here, I want to put a little bit of a highlight down here on my apples. You have to think fast when you're filming. When you have an opportunity to film, what's fun is that you're really kind of forced to move quickly. And when you move fast, it's more loose, and it really has more of a painterly look to it. I love it. I love it. Okay, now here's the fun thing that you guys have been waiting for. Now I've got a phthalo green. I found that the phthalo green is the closest color to making these little jars work. You know, those ball canning jars, that wonderful thing. Or those, actually this one's called an Atlas canning jar from, it's got to be about, I don't know, 1915? I don't know. I'm making a guess. All right. Now I've got the phthalo green. Isn't that pretty? Okay, and now I'm just kind of going over the shape. I hope, since I'm offside, that I'm not twisting this into a Leaning Tower of Pisa. Okay, for all our Italian viewers. So happy about all of the international viewers that are on board. Okay, here's a neat thing that phthalo green, right up next to that red, is just super yummy. I love it. I love it. Now, I've got a little smile at the top. I've got another one of those flattened ellipses. Go back and look at that ellipse video, everybody, because it's short. It only goes for about 2 minutes, but you'll learn a ton. Now, here's another ellipse down here. A little smile to the apple, and then I'm going to make this ellipse down here, like to that apple. And then I want to think about the water line. There's a water line on here, and so I'll put the water line. I'm going to split that apple a little bit. I don't want to put it right under the apple. It's just a bad idea. So I want to give it a good spot all by itself. You don't want to bump bump up. We'll do a whole nother video on that, on not bumping into something inappropriately. Okay, so that's basically our jar. Now I'm going to put a little bit of white, no, what am I saying? Yellow with a white in it, and we're going to add that to our coloring. Oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful? Get excited. We'll make that kind of the bottom part. Can also add a little bit of phthalo turquoise. I love phthalo turquoise as part of the highlights on this, and we might do that a little bit. Put that here, and maybe I'll do a video on just the lettering at some point. That'd be cool. All right, adding a little bit more light value on the plane of the water. Now I am avoiding this area, which is, there's a leaf coming across there. All right, everybody, that's what I'm doing. So I'm going around that a little bit, kind of cutting that out. There, now you can see the leaf that's still hanging out there. Okay, now because this is transparent, okay, wait, I gotta put this in. This is on my brush, and I'll put a little bit of a kind of a light coming through here and a light here. And then, oh, same color on top up here, we'll put this little rim as it comes around. Make sure this part's round, not pointed. And then as it comes down like this, a little bit that way. Now, what we have to kind of really decide what color our table is too, because we don't know what's happening in the jar if that we're looking through until we know what color the table is behind. So, oh well, we'll just put this in anyway. Sometimes on these jars I'll use a lot of the purple color in up here. Watch, this is awesome. Here's a little purple. Put some purple underneath it. And I'll put that leaf back over it again. Where else do I see that? I'll see it right about in here. A little purple in here. If you'd like me to do a video with just the jar, let me know. If we get enough people making that request, then okay. So, all right, now let's go in with that kind of a dark blue color. Where the light comes in is, oddly, that's where it's darkest on the side of the jar. Okay. Got a little dark side in line with the light, and then it comes out on the other side. All right. I'm going to give it just some weird little funny shapes. And add some more nondescript color in the middle. A little bit grayed out. Looks pretty good. This is really whipping fast, isn't it? Okay, so let's now go in and do some highlights on the jar. One right there, in line with the light. In line with the light. Don't put them all over the place. I don't care if you see them or not. Really, you want to kind of make sure that it's in line with the light, and then also it goes in this way and it comes out down here a little bit. All right, so it goes in, hits the jar and reflects down through the jar and comes out on the opposite side just a little bit. And then I kind of soften it out with my brush a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty darn cool. I like it a lot. All right, but I want to show you one more thing, in that I'm going to grab a wider brush. Who has been wrecking all my brushes? Oh, me, hello. Take care of your brushes, everybody. I'm thinking about this gold copper color, and I want to, again, put something in it that's opposite to the copper color. And so, and really super light. I need more white. So I'm going to, one more time, put my purple with my phthalo green and a ton of white. And I'm going to come back over here, wow, and then I can shape out any of the mistakes that I might have made, which I didn't. No. And I can kind of brighten it up and see how it really looks like a white, almost like a white tablecloth when I pull that. Go like this, go down a little bit this way. And it's just yummy. Beautiful, 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 luminous color. A little more of that with a little more white up in the front. I just loaded this big fat brush up. And we'll get it a little bit lighter, a little lighter. I can add a little sunshine to it too by putting a little bit of a gold paint in it as well, but right now I think I like this. All right, now just a little more of the green color, the phthalo green. Yeah, woo, phthalo green and white. Now, better be a little bit more careful, so I'm going to take my smaller brush because I don't want to mess up what I've already got with our phthalo green and onto the brush. And I'm going to add some more of my Neo Megilp to the paint and go woo, 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 around, around. Brighten it up. And set those shadows to singing. Isn't this fun? I think it's just great. I just really, really love doing still life, and I hope you will learn to love it too. All right, we're gonna flip around over here. Sometimes I pick up some of the paint that's already on, you know, like if I bump into the red, whoa, that can get a little bit wild. Okay, let's get a little bit more of that, and we'll come up in here. This is really exciting, everybody. Okay. I'm going to put here a little bit of that wonderfully bright color and set that off. Just set off everything that we just painted. What happens when I come up around these apples? Ooh-wee! Isn't that pretty? Okay. Just try not to bump too much into what you're painting or your apples, because you'll end up with a pink background rather than whatever else you really wanted, which is in the more minty blue flavor. And we'll just kind of do a little doodad like this. Okay, now I'm not going to get too carried away with all the fixings at this stage. I got that a little bit crooked. Oh well, I can correct that later when you're not looking. Oh wait, let's do a little more up here. We'll come up here. I kind of like this. I'm getting carried away with it. So what if I made this into kind of a little drape that went down like this and came from up over here? That'd be kind of neat. So I would kind of work that up like this. Now let's make one more little thing where we make a little bit of a light there. My ellipses are a little screwy. That's all right. Oh, guess what? We did not put any stems on or leaves on this. So here's my leaf. This is my phthalo green with orange will give me that wonderful leaf color. And so I'm going to put another leaf that kind of goes over like this. Good. All right. And then another one that's kind of under it. Kind of goes like this. And it's got a little bit of a jagged edge. And we just pull it up. And now I want to get a little brown. So I'm going to add some alizarin crimson in with my green. And that makes it a brownish stem. Where's the inside of my apple? It goes up like this. There. And the inside of this one I don't even see. But we'll kind of give it a little bit of an indication. And and I'm going to kind of come down through here in our little stems. Let's see, this way, and this one comes up and joins the other one. Ooh, that was a little fat. Well, you can take your time when you do your leaves. I also want to take some more of that reddish color with the orange and give this a tiny bit of a shadow where that leaf is kind of hitting. And then right here too. There. Isn't that pretty? Yes, it is. Okay. Okay. Just think about what we could do if we actually had more time, which you do. You have a lot more time. We could reflect the apples into the glass, or we could reflect the leaves into the copper, all sorts of wonderful things. Now, I'm going to take a little bit more of this the transparent orange and give it one more layer. Sometimes I'll do that on a painting. I will allow it to dry, and then I'll do a coating of transparent orange. Now, one more little thing. Reflective light up into here. A little bit of reflective light. Where is it? There it is. There it is. reflective light, and then a little tiny bit of reflective light here, a little bit here. It's not a highlight, it's just kind of reflective. I'll go sideways on it a little bit, and a little tiny bit of a highlight right there, right there. Let's go up on the rim one more time and give that a big jolt of juicy paint. Okay, everybody, that's all I'm going to do on this super rapid fire, not so still life today. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something. If you'd like to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Be passionate about whatever you choose to do today, whether it be painting, dancing, singing, or just loving one another. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.